Honourable Member for Livingstone, McLeod.
Mr. Speaker, when the NDP announced the creation of the Castle Provincial Park in 2017, they promised off-highway vehicle or OHV users access to the Livingstone Porcupine Hills area. Then, just last month, the minister released the Livingstone Porcupine Hills draft plan, which appears to have approximately eliminated 70% of OHV trails. To the minister, how do you possibly expect the recreationalists from the castle, combined with those already using the Livingstone Porcupine Hills area, to have proper use of facilities when the capacity has been so enormously reduced?
Honourable Minister of Environment and Parks.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And the member is quite right that the Castle Parks were established. We found 1,800 stream crossings in that area, in the headwaters, where we have a number of species at risk, including some native trout, and 35 bridges, Mr. Speaker, for all of those stream crossings. And in Porcupine Hills, we find about 3,800 stream crossings, Mr. Speaker. And so clearly we needed to undertake a planning exercise. There's no question about that. And it was the members' own constituents who asked me for that planning exercise. I will never forget being in a town hall meeting, well, it was a community hall, with a whole bunch of people asking.
Honourable Minister, thank you. First supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, given that the draft plan announcement last month was poorly communicated, in my opinion, has only allowed public consultation now for 30 days for the Livingstone Porcupine Hills plan, and given that the minister eventually extended the consultation period for the Castle Provincial Park, to the minister, why won't you overturn this ill-advised decision and hold a full series of open houses for proper public input, just like the Castle at the end, with at least a 90-day consultation period?
The Honourable Minister.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And, you know, I've been hearing from the honourable member's own constituents in the Porcupine Hills and in the Livingstone. These are ranchers. These are people who have grazing lease permits. These are people who are private property owners. And they've asked us to undertake recreational planning. This has been years in the making, and the member's own colleagues from the old Legacy Party, studied this a problem for, a generation and did precisely nothing, Mr. Speaker. And it was his own constituents that begged us to get control over this, Mr. Speaker. The runaway use of vacant public land was getting in the way of people's right to make a living, Mr. Speaker, and that's not a
Minister. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't sound like she wants to go and extend the limit here. Given that the latest plan for the Porcupine Hills would see OHV access reduced by nearly 70%, and given that there's only 30 days less now today, the minister is once again failing to engage with Albertans. Will the minister admit she made a mistake trying to bulldoze ahead with this ill-conceived plan before consulting with the people being impacted first?
The Honourable Minister.
Let me tell you about consultation, Mr. Speaker. When last summer I did a tour of the Porcupine area with a number of the members' own constituents, and then I went into a community hall where there were about 50 people or more. I took my kids, in fact, and my kids devastated the snack table while I heard from his own constituents about how we needed more enforcement, better planning, and we needed an actual thoughtful approach to recreation. It's his constituents that asked for this, Mr. Speaker. I'm very confused as to why he doesn't want to represent them now.